The body has a remarkable ability to remain in balance. Whether it's sweating to reduce a high temperature or healing a small cut, the body constantly works to remain in a state of well-being. But when the body is neglected over time, maintaining balance becomes difficult. When the scale tips too far in one direction, chronic inflammation often follows.
Inflammation affects virtually everybody at some level. 72% of all disease, cancer, heart disease, lupus, arthritis. So inflammation is huge. There's a big picture now associated with inflammation. Inflammation is a biochemical reality in our world, unfortunately, but it's very manageable.
The first step towards managing inflammation and protecting the immune system is being aware of the common causes. High levels of stress affect the whole body.
Most people that I see are in stress mode 85 to 99%. And they don't even get out of it when they sleep. So autoimmunity to me is overlapping with adrenals. And again, when your adrenals are exhausted, your natural anti-inflammatory agents are out of business.
By reducing stress, the body is able to operate with greater efficiency. But stress is not the only cause of inflammation. Other factors include lifestyle choices, such as smoking and consuming excess alcohol.
Toxins, whether we're talking about tobacco or too much alcohol, really have an effect on the ultimate or the supreme filtration system of the body, which is the liver. The liver really is a reflection of how we live. That's why it's called the liver. And for people who live too richly, or people who live too erratically or too recklessly, these are people who are taking a lot of filtration elements into that liver and overworking the liver. The more your liver has to filter, the more your liver gets overworked and more stressed, the more histamines you're going to be producing. Histamines, of course, are inflammatory hormones.
Healthy choices help the body reduce inflammation. Good sleep is essential to keep the body in balance. When sleeping, the body is able to rejuvenate and replenish. Another way to fight inflammation is by exercising daily. With physical activity, the body takes in extra oxygen.
Oxygen is everything, first of all. Oxygen is a starting point for wholeness, for wellness, for healing. We cut our finger in the garden, it's oxygen that heals it. Oxygen is the ultimate, it's the supreme healer. So to make efficient utilization of delivery of oxygen to cells is really what respiration is all about. It's what the idea of aerobic efficiency is about. It's really super important to the process of longevity and to stave off the ravages of aging.
You are what you eat. Words to live by, especially when it comes to avoiding inflammation and the health problems it causes. The things people choose to consume have an enormous impact on inflammation in the body, and it's different for everyone. With allergies, foods that are good for one person may have the opposite effect in another.
Make sure that what you're eating is geared to you and only you. If you take something that's anti-inflammatory by nature, salmon, wild salmon with the great omega-3 fats, but if you're allergic to that salmon, all bets are off. It's no longer an anti-inflammatory for you, it's an inflammatory.
Processed foods are often filled with salt, sugar, and unhealthy fats. The body is not able to process the excess fats and sugars found in most fast food, leading to inflammation.
There's a lot of research that says the reason why inflammation didn't saturate our ancestral world is because they didn't have packaged crackers, salad dressings, and condiments loaded with vegetable oils. And unfortunately nowadays we're all loading up on vegetable oils that are hidden omega-6 fats, inflammatory, a primary source of inflammation.
Eating large amounts of sugar disrupts the body and makes it difficult to find balance.
When you think about sugar, to me, sugar is something that we're up to 175 pounds. 200 years ago, the average sugar consumption was 9 pounds a year. We're up to almost 200 pounds per person a year. It's ridiculous. The liver can only process 50 grams of sugar a day. The average person is taking in about 65 to 70. So what happens to excess sugar is it obviously converts to fat, inflammatory fats, not good fats. So I'd say number one, you want to cut the sugar way down, qualify it, try to basically use sugars that are like, raw honeys in small amounts, maybe stevia or something like that, but to really cool it with the sugar and the sweet stuff and to really develop a different kind of palate.
While the battle against inflammation takes place on many fronts, diet is often the body's strongest defense. A healthy plate includes plenty of variety and color, and a combination of foods that fuel and nourish the body.
So you got to make sure that you keep the ratio of your protein and your low starch carbohydrates like your green vegetables and whatnot at a fairly high ratio to your starches. I always say that 2 starches a day is just enough. Beyond 2 is 1 too many.
When getting into the specifics of diet, it's helpful to think of foods in 3 general columns. The first is made up of foods that keep the body in balance.
So column 1 is neutral. It's your basic vegetables and fruits and your whole grain products and your beans and most of your poultry and whatnot. So your basic, crunchy granola diet, your relatively healthy diet, for all intents and purposes, is neutral. They're not inflammatory, they're not anti-inflammatory. The middle column, column 2, inflammatory, bad guys. Too much sugar, too much red meat, too much dairy, too many peanuts, too many egg yolks, lethal. The standard American diet is really well represented there.
Just as there are foods to avoid, there are also foods that strengthen the body's immune system and help keep disease at bay. The foods in column 3 are good additions to a healthy shopping list.
Column 3, these are the golden childs. Fatty fish, absolutely, at least once or twice a week. Walnuts, pumpkin seeds, and again, think about conversions here. If we take an inflammatory food in column 2, dairy, we've talked about it a couple times now. That's an inflammatory food. What about if I substitute soy milk? I'm actually taking this quantum leap in the right direction. I'm not only eliminating an inflammatory, I'm adding an anti-inflammatory. What a huge change. We're also working in a direction with supplements, fatty fish oil, or good, healthy fatty fish oils, things like flax oils and flax seed in the diet. There are spices that actually are very powerfully anti-inflammatory as well. A ginger tea, what a great difference maker. More rosemary in the diet as a spice on the chicken or on the fish. Using turmeric as a spice, oregano, using parsley. These are all natural anti-inflammatories with very high antioxidant values.
Reducing stress, including exercise and getting good sleep, are the first steps. Avoiding foods that lead to inflammation and embracing those that provide healthy fuel goes a long way in helping the body maintain balance.
Monday through Friday, we're programmed to make our commitment in our world to going to school on a rainy Monday when we're tired, getting up and going to work on a day that we're perhaps exhausted and don't want to go, but we go anyway to take care of business. So we're programmed to take care of business Monday through Friday in every avenue of life except nutrition and disease prevention. So my pitch is take Monday through Friday, prevent disease, commit your actions to your prevention and to your longevity.